Hi, my name is Sally Bernard, an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer. Welcome to Call Me Zena, a true story into the spiritual realms. Join me as I sit and discuss the journey of self-discovery, and with the help of my spirit guides, it's time to trust your intuition. Sit with me and call in live, 888-994-4995, Studio A. And now onto the show. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to my show. It's Monday again. Time flies, doesn't it? Well, Dawn, we're doing what we did this time last week. I said to you, pick one of my poems, and you picked one that was so relevant, and it was the date. I can't exactly remember, but we did something again today. It was the correct date. And I said, give me a number, and I just opened it, and it was 33, and you didn't know, and you said 33. So here we are. Wonders of the universe. Oh, how we wonder what is beneath each star, a light, a cloud streaming down. We look up, and they're still there. What do they behold? What lies within this great universe? How many times we talk about planets? Do you remember? Yes, we do. Look beyond ourselves. Think back in time. Afraid? Do not be. Just turn back time, and you will be within that which is, and that which will be, will be. Have no fear, for that is what makes us forget. Enjoy this journey. It is all but an illusion. Can we understand? It is difficult. We are still human. It doesn't seem to make any sense. Relax. Enjoy the ride. It ends so fast. Enjoy this lifetime. Go in peace. Well, that was appropriate, as it always is when you pick a number. Okay, so questions. It's question time. And today's show is about dreams. Anybody that has had a dream, or a dream that it seems that's on their mind for a little while, because we don't usually remember our dreams. So anybody that has a question about a dream that they had, please call in, and the number is 888-994-4995. So as everybody knows me by now that's probably listening to the show, that I work with questions. So here we go with the first question.
Is there a difference, Sally, if you dream in color or black and white?
No, I don't believe there is, actually. Some people can say, you know, I've had many dreams, and my book is about my dreams and my travels, and I really don't pay too much attention. Someone would say to me, well, what color was that in your dream? And I really don't know. It's the dream itself that matters. In my opinion, I mean, people do feel that colors can have a meaning.
I always dream in color, but someone asked me, they once said, do you dream in color or black and white? I didn't know black and white, people actually dream in black and white.
Well, now that you said that, I think probably I don't know if you stay with black and white or color throughout your life, but I think mine's been a little bit of both. But I'm not really aware if I remember my dreams, though I'm thinking back, because on one, which I write in my book, someone did offer me some fruit, and I remember it was white on top and green around, so obviously it was color.
Isn't that funny?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I know we had some people write in questions, and I have a lot of questions.
I have a dream. Black and white.
You dream in black and white?
This one was, yeah. No, I dream in color. I dream in a lot of things. But this one was black and white. And it was my mother dragging me into a grave. And I was awoken by screaming that I didn't want to go. And this is not the first time I've had this dream. It's about the second time. What do you think?
Well, I think you were, something on your mind at this point. The first thing that comes to me is you were projecting something, Freddie. I believe that you may have been, this was more of a I've talked about subconscious or astral projecting, as I had done. This was more of a subconscious dream that you're having, that I'm going to say by what you're telling me is that you had a fear of something. It wasn't basically jumping, into a grave or that. I think you were fearful at the time around that dream, and your subconscious was telling you that. That's what I feel. The meaning itself of the dream is more of fear.
So do people, when they dream, is it their subconscious talking to them, or is it a message?
It's a little of both. It depends, actually. I mean, it can be a message within a dream. It can be what I say, which I talk about in my book, which I didn't understand at that time. I was flying, which was astral projection. We don't usually remember our dreams. We wake up, we feel it for a minute, and then it just basically goes away. However, which I certainly found out, and I'm going to say through the hard way because I had no idea what was happening to me, the ones that we remember, and I remember some of my travels, which I also write in my book, from 18 years ago. I still remember every detail of those dreams. So that, to me, I was there, which I've often talked about these places, and yet last night I had a dream and I couldn't tell you what it was about. So your subconscious, or there is an astral plane, and that's where we're on.
So that I had a dream about this studio, and I even told the landlord, Dawn was there, that I had a dream about a yellow building that was going to be the future in the studio that we would put our studio in. And this one was yellow. It was another one we were talking, it was white. But this one was yellow. Is that a message? This is before I came here.
It was a premonition, and you're able to do that.
What is a premonition?
A premonition is to see the future, although it's all happening at the same time. That's another show, which I often say. But you were looking into your future at that, because it wasn't that point. You weren't in the studio, had seen it. So you saw a picture of that. And actually, I would say that you were definitely in the right place because you were verifying it in your dream, and then you end up here.
Well, then that changes perception of a dream. It's a message.
Well, in that particular case, but we can have dreams, messages, or we can just have what may have happened yesterday, the day before, because our subconscious will relay that to us in our sleep. So if it's something that may have happened the day before and it's still on your mind, you can be dreaming about it. That's not necessarily a message. Or, having said that, which I can hear them saying too, it could be a message. Maybe you didn't listen to the conversation and there was something in that conversation, then when you went to bed at night, you relived that conversation, so to speak.
But I wasn't here.
No, in that particular dream, you had not seen that place. So that was a premonition, that particular dream.
So you're telling me the dreams don't necessarily mean anything except something you were thinking about?
Oh no, they can have definitely have messages. I mean, I think I even write poetry. We have hidden messages.
Yeah, because you write about it. This is my point.
We have messages that come through our dreams, because you know why it happens through our dreams? Because our mind is quiet and we're somewhere else.
My mind is never quiet, Sally.
Well, it is in your dreams, Dawn. That's why I just said that. They're telling me to tell you that too, okay? If you're asleep, you can be dreaming and your dream is kind of taken over. So if it's a message for you or something that happened, and actually I see that because sometimes we don't always listen to people. So we can relive that conversation or something that happened because it does have a significance, maybe in the future or maybe something that we were going to be doing and we forgot to do it. Could be many messages are within the dreams.
So you want to hear my dream last night? See if you can interpret this, because I just remembered as I'm sitting here talking to you.
There you go.
So we were networking and we met this woman who owned a nail salon, and her husband was a billionaire, very, very bougie. They had so much money, and you and I went to meet with them. And you said, why are we meeting with them? And I said, I don't know. And you said to me, let's just wait and have the conversation and see. So it was just about networking. We went out for lunch. They showed us their car, like nothing, no deals were closed, no nothing. But it was just this whole conversation to build community. I don't know these people, but if I did, it would be a very wealthy conversation to be a part of.
That's very interesting, because now you have recalled your whole dream.
Yes.
We were only, in my belief anyway, and what people have told me too, and what they're telling me, is you will remember your dream if it's going to either happen or has happened, and it's not something just that we, you know, most of the time we forget. So this dream that you've had,
so vivid,
is because you needed to remember it, Dawn. It was more than just a dream. And this would not have come up in the conversation normally, but because it just happened just now and you remembered your whole dream, it's very significant.
Just now, so I'd forgotten it as you started this conversation, and it just came back, and I'm like, okay, let me ask you. Because I remember waking up saying, this dream is so vivid. It's like we traveled. It wasn't even, it was like we were in Dubai, in another country.
Dubai.
Because they were not American.
Have you noticed that she says we? When
You were with
we got a
me.
mouse. I was with
You were
you.
with me. We were having this conversation, and they had this beautiful car, and it was so you saying, it's not the deal that you think. It's going to be the deal over here. So
I
let's
wish you would
just
stop doing that.
You'll see that this will come to pass. I can't tell you when. but this
I'm
is
going to
just-
Dubai.
I want to go to Dubai.
Well, we're saying Dubai. How did you know for sure?
I don't. It just these people were from Dubai
How do you know that?
So
because I just know.
I don't
No,
believe that you were in Dubai. That's why I said,
Right.
how did you know that? But I think that might be your trigger when you meet someone from Dubai. And that's where the conversation is going to go. You already had the premonition.
yeah, they were not American, but they were here with a lot of money, and
Well, this is
We'll
in
see.
your future. I really believe that. And we now have it recorded.
You're going
now
to
recorded.
Dubai.
And if you forget, which you're not going to forget, because it just came out of her just like that.
Is that funny?
Just switch on this show, because it is being recorded too.
funny dream, right?
No, that was a great dream.
That's
That was
hilarious.
great. That's how it works. That's exactly how it
And it's always you telling me to be patient. You never know what's going to happen. Just be patient.
Well, if we could
Look
go
at him,
into
he's
that
rubbing
a
his
little bit
face.
more. Give me a section of that again. And we'll go into it and see what it is. I think this is exciting.
No, let's leave Dubai
Well, this is
alone.
something that's going to happen. This is a good thing.
It could be a great thing. They could totally invest
Or
in
it could
something.
be a very
Or it could
not
be
great
nothing.
Well,
thing.
let's see if we can get some messages about it for a second.
It could be nothing. I don't know.
Okay, I don't believe that it's nothing. I really don't. The only thing, and I've had premonitions too, I'm not sure about the timing. I believe this could happen. It could be tomorrow. It could be a year from now. I don't get the time because there really is no time on the other side. So it could happen while we're sitting here. Someone could come in from Dubai. But I do believe that it will happen. I absolutely do.
So let me get this right. My grave dream, it gets snowed in,
no,
and she has Dubai.
sorry.
That one we're gonna explore.
I
Wow.
have to tell you
Would you
again.
rather explore the money than you're in a grave?
Well, I was hoping she was gonna warn me or something. Wow.
Well, I think it was more interesting.
Mine wasn't interesting.
No, it was interesting. And
Well, it happened in Dubai. If that makes it difference.
You have another guest with you. Maybe she has a question.
Yeah, she
Shelley's
does.
got more studio audience
I
here.
actually do have a question. So I had a dream, and it was like really livid at the time. And it's like I remember it, but I can't go word for word, detail to detail. But I was talking to my father, who's not in the picture anymore. And I was talking to him, and he was talking to me, and it was like, it felt real. And it was like, I know he's not there. I knew at the time, in that dream,
Right.
he was not really there. What does that mean?
Well, I believe, have you had, you may not want to air this, unresolved issues with your dad or something that you don't have to mention what it is, but
I would
there
say
be a
so.
Conversation? Well, I think I'm not sure, and even if I did know, I'm not going to say. I mean, it's nothing bad or good. It's just the feeling that I'm getting, is that you needed that conversation with your dad. That's what I'm hearing. It's
Yeah.
very important, whether he's around or wherever he is. You needed to, and you've actually resolved an issue. And if you can remember the dream, that's fine. I mean, you don't have to talk about
Yeah.
it here. But I believe it was an unresolved issue. It could have been a good thing even.
Yeah,
but
I
you
definitely...
You needed to have that conversation.
Do
Thank
you
for
think it
that.
was an actual conversation with
Yeah,
him?
absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Brings me some peace.
Good.
That's interesting. And we were talking a little bit about signs before. This afternoon, I was telling about a sign that I had dimes fall out of a folder.
Yeah, that's very interesting too, because recently my thing is the white feather, and I'm seeing white feathers all over the place right now. Because right now, and if my followers, and we have quite a few here that do believe, obviously, in what we're talking about, it's real in my world, and they're in my world because they're listening to this, is that we're going through a transition here right now, and we're having a shift. So we need as many people as possible to begin to understand what's going on. It's little by little, and it doesn't happen all at once, but I think they're telling us that by what we think is what, like coins, it's very, and white feathers very important to me to see those white feathers. I think the other day.
Let's take an early commercial break because they want to fix your mic.
Oh, okay. Has none of this been on?
It's been on,
Oh,
but
okay.
they don't like the way it sounds. So we're
Okay.
gonna take a commercial
All
break
right.
and come back.
We'll be right back shortly as soon as I fix my mic. Thank you.
A true story, Call Me Zena, is the telling of Sally Bernard. Born in London, England at the end of the Second World War, she came into the U.S. in 1979, A mother of 2 and a grandmother of 4, she settled in Florida and worked in real estate. While going through a difficult time in her life, she was admitted into a hospital overnight in December of 2005. While settling back into her life, she began having vivid dreams and documenting them. By the 3rd dream, a lady gave her a message to draw. With no artistic background or interest into art or history, Sally listened to her dreams and grabbed a paper and crayons. Today, she has over 150 pieces of inspiring art and poetry. This book follows her journey and interpretations of these messages. She describes in detail how she is able to astral a project and who she has met along her travels, including her spirit guides. This book will show you how anything is possible with an open mind. These events have changed Sally's life and direction, and this book will show you how to change yours. Purchase Call Me Zena on Amazon today, authorhouse.com and amazon.com.
Thank you for joining me through this journey of self-discovery with the help of my spirit guides. I'm Sally Bernard, and you can find my book at authorhouse and amazon.com or visit my art on my clothing in my boutique at artbysallybernard.com. Now back to the show. Welcome back, everybody. Hopefully the mic's working now, yes.
Let's talk about, Sally, your book. Well, it talks about you, your story, your journey. It even has some of your artwork in here, which is beautiful, with interpretations.
Right.
And people can buy these with
Yes,
your book.
absolutely. It's on Amazon. Call Me Zena. Has my artwork, and it has a lot about what I was dreaming about. Only I found out, which my book will tell you, that these dreams were very real. And a lot of these things that had happened, especially that I was given the message to start to paint. I had never painted anything in my life. And I said, what was that message about? And the story is there, how all my art came about. It's very appropriate for today's show because it was dreaming.
Now, did you write this book based on dreams?
Well, it's my travels, yes, how I began to open up to all this that's happened to me.
So then
and
you
it
received
started
messages.
basically with a dream.
You received messages.
Well, my messages was go and find some, to paint, get some paper and pencils and start painting. Only mine went a little further. For people that don't know, that's how I started. And if by now I'm sure a lot of people who are listening believe in past lives, and I'm drawing things from previous lifetimes, signs and symbols I've never seen. So I was being definitely guided into doing this. And it was through my dreams that I was able to receive these messages at that point. Here now I hear them, and so I can do this, but I didn't know that.
So unconfuse me. So the messages you got led to the book and the things you're doing in your life now. So these were messages that you were receiving.
Well, yeah, I'd probably been receiving messages most of my life because I knew I was psychic. I just never really took too much notice of it. I thought a lot of the things that had happened to me, everybody had the same experiences. You don't know. If you don't know, you honestly don't know. But when I opened up, it was later in my life, and I was getting messages, and I had physically someone here that got in basically to my dream. For people that don't know my story, I was given these messages, and I was told to paint, and I was somewhere else, and I felt very real to me. And the following day I go to work, and someone taps on my shoulder. Again, if you've heard the story, bear with me because it is an important story to tell. And right behind me, as I was getting a cup of coffee, someone tapped on my shoulder, and they said to me, I know where you were in your dream last night. Well, I didn't even know where I was. It was just very real, and sure enough, he told me my whole entire dream of everything that had happened to me, including to go and get some pencils and paper and start to draw. There was no way that I couldn't open up to anything after that. That just didn't make sense to me, so I wanted to know more.
Sally,
And
like
I've
this
been
one looks
understanding.
like Egyptian.
A lot of my artwork, which I wanted to show you, Dawn,
Right.
in the beginning, yes. I have the pharaohs, I have many things.
It's funny you bring up Egyptian because Dawn's mother also does a lot of stuff.
That's why I
from
wanted to
Egypt.
show. I have the painting that she has in her, it's in the living room, correct? I have that, I drew that. I'll show you. I have to take a picture, it's at home. It's not in the book, because I have about 150 pieces of art, but I will draw that, Dawn. Is that not strange? I think it's the same thing, exactly.
Her mother had a sarcophagus.
A what?
A sarcophagus. Others about a cabin in the woods.
Yes.
Do you
Yeah.
think that's a past life?
That I don't know. It may or may not be. I honestly don't know. But I have had, because I was drawing signs and symbols. So obviously I was drawing pictures of things that I had seen too. Yes.
So do
Yes.
any of these like drawings or paintings that you do have different interpretations in a way? So like,
Yes.
Okay, could you tell
Because
us
the
some about
person that I just introduced on my show that tapped me on the shoulder became my guide here on Earth for 18 years till he passed. And he understood all this, and he knew what was going to happen to me in my future. So I basically spoke to him nearly every day of my life for 18 years, and he would tell me what was happening, and he interprets some of these, which I know you haven't seen the book. In the book, he interprets some of the artwork.
Okay, so could you give us an example of different interpretations of one?
Well,
of
there's
these
so
things?
many. I mean, I can answer the questions, but
Okay.
he actually writes in the book. Well, that's a good, reason to buy my book, people. You'll see the artwork and the
So
interpretation,
here's
which is
another
all
one.
there.
Here's another cabin in the woods. It's like you've done a couple of those.
And you know
that
what?
was the one I had a dream about before.
Oh, okay.
Do you
There you go.
remember I had a dream before I met you that there was this painting of the woods, like a forest that was
Oh, wow.
like I had seen, and there was this cabin in the forest and these trees and it was more of an abstract piece of art.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I know I've seen
That
it.
is abstract.
And then
actually.
you came in with this piece of art. You brought in all this other artwork, and you said, wait, we just met you. I've got one more in the car. You said that's a little different. That doesn't really make any sense, but I'm going to bring it in anyway. And it was that painting I had a dream about.
There you go.
So why would I have a dream about your painting?
Because there's so much going on, Dawn, and I didn't at that time, because even doing my show nearly for 3 years now, I'm learning a lot through what I'm talking about, through my messages. There was so much, and that was part of it, because you said to me you had seen some of my artwork. Well, that doesn't happen.
We had never met you before.
And again, the wand. I'd never watched
behind
the
you.
show. Oh, there you go. There's the wand that Dawn uses. And I had not seen that when I did my artwork. So, yes, I think these things happen to us, and this is coming to me with what they're saying too, is that we pay attention to these things. Normally a lot of what we see and happened, we don't pay attention. That's where the dreaming part can come in, because that's where the messages come in, Freddie. We get something and maybe we didn't take notice of it during the day in our conscious mind at that point, but it'll go into a subconscious mind, and that will come out as, well, I should have listened more. That happened to me this morning or whenever. And you'll see that that's not coincidence. That's synchronicity in your dreaming, actually, because there's different ways to dream. I was flying. I didn't know what astral projection was, and for people that don't, in my dream there is an astral plane which I knew nothing about, and I was flying to where I was going. I was seeing things in my dream. I went to England. I believe I have it in there, and I'm seeing places in London, and I'm there in my dream. And I was lost one time in London, in the center of London, and I kept having this reoccurring dream. And I lived in London in the center. Many years later, I went back to London. I went to that same place in the West End where all the shops were, and I didn't know where I was. That was my hometown because it had changed so much.
You had a dream that you lost your wallet, and then you went on a
Well,
trip and you lost your wallet.
Yeah, that was an amazing dream. Actually, that was only a
was
year
like last
ago.
year, yeah.
Yeah, I had this dream, I can't remember it completely now, that in my dream I'd left my purse somewhere, and I had my wallet, my phone, and everything in it. And I woke up and I said, oh my gosh, that was a weird dream. We're going to the airport. We were somewhere and we were flying back here. And we're in the airport, and I put my purse on the conveyor belt to go through security. I
She
forgot
lost
it. And I'm walking to the airport, I have no purse on me. And I suddenly said to Steve, oh my gosh, I can't find my purse, I've got to run back. And as I'm running back, I'm going, my dream's come true, my dream has come true. I saw the exact same thing the following day. Yeah. And I'm saying, as I'm running in life here, where's my purse, where's my purse? But obviously I thought in my mind, go back to the conveyor belt. But
You
the
found it.
security
So what do
wasn't
you
it.
do if you dream about people
I know what you're going to ask.
that shows up in the studio, and you see them, and you realize that you dreamt this person, not characteristic wise, but spiritual wise, and they show up, and you don't know what to say, how to say it without freaking them out?
Well, That's for you, though. However it works out, it's up to you to determine that. Because if you suddenly said, and you'd never met someone, I had a dream about you, and this is what's going to happen.
If I ever said that, I'd probably get slapped or shot or both.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
So what do I do?
So be aware that you had the dream. So
I
be
am.
aware.
That's
and
what I'm
it's
asking you.
validation. Just be aware that that happened in your dream, and that's very, very possible that the same situation that happened in your dream is going to unfold right in front of you, Freddie. It's best, I would say, depending on the situation, unless they're very psychic, I think I would keep that quiet until maybe the end or whatever.
Then why
it is.
have a dream? Why receive a dream if I have to
It's
keep
for
it
you.
quiet?
It's not for necessarily the other people. You've had
I
some sort
see.
of premonition for you. It may not be for them because you could actually change the course of the dream if you mentioned it. I had told Steve that I had lost my purse when I woke up from the dream.
And you found it?
Going to the well, I ran it. It actually happened to me the next day. I wasn't aware of my dream because I didn't know I was going to.
But if you didn't tell Steve, you would never have found it.
No, I told him, so he saw the whole situation that I had told him the dream. He didn't find it. I knew it had to be somewhere in the airport, but exactly the same situation the night before had happened in my dream.
Wait a minute. Did you find it?
Yeah.
Where?
I found it on the conveyor belt. Freddie.
Security.
Security had it. But in my dream, I had a dream about it the night before, that I lost my purse.
No, I heard that part.
Yeah.
So you went back to security and they had it?
Okay, that wasn't in my dream, that part. I was running looking for my purse. The dream, that was my dream. The following day, my dream happened.
I got you.
And I found the purse.
So you found the purse after you told Steve?
Correct. Well, he already had known my dream.
Do you know what's funny is last week you talked about not having a wallet or an ID or a credit card.
Oh my God, yes.
So there's like this common
remember
thread
as you told me.
theme with you and your wallet.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Just get rid of the wallet.
We maybe just need
That's
to put it all
very
on your
true.
right.
And I don't remember what I talk about. You know
Last week
that.
you talked
but then
about
I
that.
remembered that. As you said it, I'll have a memory of that.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, as we all should be. And I'm going to be extra careful about my wallet right now.
So I have a question. So have you ever had like a dream where you're falling and then just you jolt and you're like, huh? And it's just like, it's so weird. It feels like an out of body experience.
Well, actually it is, because that's what, it was funny. It's not strange that you answered that because you haven't read my book. And I talk about that with the jerk the first time when I came back into my body. It is basically an out of body experience. That's what I was having throughout my book. And I mentioned it's like training somebody because I didn't know what was going on, but I would feel vibrational energy. I would suddenly see all these places that I was going to. And the very first time that happened, I knew nothing about this, but I had a jerk, just as what you're explaining. And it was the following day when this Aldo, who is in my book, Adamir, came to me and told me that, and I explained it to him, and he said, you can ask before you go to sleep that you don't want that feeling. And I've never had it since. But I mean, it's not in every dream. I happen to be going a lot of times, which may or may not be unusual.
And you have some people, Freddie, that wrote in as well.
I do. What is it? I know, I saw that. Oh, there's something else? Oh. I guess. Why don't you talk a little bit? I got a text
Other
message.
dreams?
Yeah.
What other dreams, what other things should people be looking for? The vividness of when you wake up?
Yes, when you have a dream and you, you know, you can feel even a dream that's just a dream because you're still going through that situation. But the keys to a lot of this is that you can remember. Someone at that point, Adamir, said to me, write down what you're dreaming but it never faded. So if a dream and you're constantly thinking of the dream that you had and it's still very clear, the chances are that you were projecting yourself and you were somewhere.
So I had a dream probably a year ago that the Virgin Mary came to me in this vivid message. And I woke up in the middle of the night and I wrote it down. When I woke up in the morning, there was nothing there. The pen was out of ink.
Okay, so there was not, but you remembered writing it
I
down.
remembered it. There was like ink, but you couldn't read it.
You had written that down. It
Yes.
just wasn't in your bedroom. It was wherever you were. That is somewhere, Dawn. Absolutely.
Right, and the
you
message
know
was
about that,
like
yeah.
I had to convey her message to the masses. It was for the masses to know.
Okay.
But there was nothing on this piece of paper. You could see that I had written
But
an
you
indentation.
had done that.
but I
That's a
had done it.
very good example.
But there
of
was
what-
no ink. So what does that mean?
because
she
you
didn't want
weren't
me to
in
write
it-
it down?
You weren't. No, but the fact that you were writing it, you had written that somewhere. It's I don't know, because we're in a whole nother place actually. So that's where you were doing that. But you remembered it, and that's very good.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You got a message?
Dawn from California, right? What does it mean when I dreamt about driving my friend Chris from Illinois on a road trip to the Grand Canyon? Now, I need you to focus on this because they're giving you a lot of details of places. So she's from California. The person she drove is from Illinois, and they went to the Grand Canyon. What does that dream mean?
Did a lot of driving.
It's a good thing it's Sally's show, but thank you for playing.
Well, that could mean a number of things. I mean, if the dream is really vivid still, and I'm unable to have an answer on this, I know, but if the dream is very vivid and you can point out places along the way, you mentioned where you were going and what you see, it's possible you were actually, as I've been talking about, you actually were doing that, or it's something that will come about. If you remember every detail of this dream, you will be able to work out what it was about. I think that this was a vivid dream. It wasn't just a dream. And if you have any, it's hard because I can't get an answer here from the lady. It's Lady Dawn. To say that you probably, maybe you have booked a trip, and maybe that's where or you're thinking of a trip, maybe that's possibly where you might be going, but without feeling any of her vibration, it's hard to interpret that as that's definitely going to happen. It could be a premonition. But go into that dream a little bit more, and maybe you'd like to call back and explain a little bit to me that you may be traveling, and we can go into that a little bit more.
But the interesting aspect is that she's driving. So this could be a person that drives, is driving, a driving force, and then that the person is called a friend, driving a friend, and she names Illinois. So it isn't a close friend, it could be a distant friend. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that she's giving you. And the Grand Canyon is like the Canyon of Doom.
No, but I don't believe that. I think it's more of a traveling experience this lady's going to have with a friend. That's how I'm interpreting it, but I mean, I can get some vibrations as you're reading it to me, but that's what I'm seeing, the significance of that, because I think it's something to do with a trip that you may or may not be taking, but you're planning. And if you do, go back into the dream, write down more details if you can, if you remember them, and I think it's a premonition.
Well, you know, with the name Dawn, they're usually the driving factor.
Well, I'm not good with names, and I'm certainly not quite here right now, but I did remember the name Dawn, because you can read a name because you were sitting here, and I know it wasn't you that wrote it.
It could be interesting if I had said Dawn is driving a friend from Illinois.
Well, the friend could be possibly, it is a friend, so the friend is somebody that is in the car. They're in a car, traveling in a car.
Yes.
So she's with a friend.
Freddie, you had a dream you told us a couple weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago already, that you were here in the studio and you were in different corners.
Oh boy, here we go.
Right?
Well, this will be interesting.
So was that like a premonition of things you wanted to do in
You really
here?
want to go down this dream?
Yeah.
You had mentioned it to Sally a couple weeks ago.
It was about, I spoke to God.
Okay.
And God asked me where I wanted to spend eternity.
Oh, I don't want to go down there.
And so he
Go
brought
back
me
to the nail salon that I dreamt
So he
about.
brought me to the studio. It's too late now. You open your mouth. So he brought me to the studio. He asked me, where in the corner would you like to live eternity? And I picked that corner over there. So ever since then, I've put a light on it.
Okay. When we go and pass to the other side, okay, we're not necessarily going to stay in one place for the rest of eternity, okay?
But that was the choice I had.
That was a significant dream, because when you want to go down this road? Yeah. When you pass over and you're in transition to the other place that you're going, I think possibly you're going to find yourself, because it's basically, without going into the whole thing, and that's a show too, where we go and we're greeted, it's what we think we're going to see usually happens. Like if you're religious or you want to see Christ, you'll see Christ. If you want to see Jesus. If you want to see Moses, you're going to see Moses. It's our imagination, if you want. It's not that they're not there, but that's what's in our conscious mind. And I have always thought this, but I've listened to shows. I try not to listen to too many because I don't want to, I need it to come from me. But recently, because I'm understanding so much more, I want to see if some of what I say is validated by other people. And yes, I have heard that from other people too. So to bring back to what happened to you in your mind, and it may stay there, is that's what you're going to see. And then, of course, you're taken, and whoever it is, maybe, you know, it's God. Well, God we can't, because God is God. It's a consciousness, you know, so we can't imagine what God looks like. So you're going to see what you kind of expecting to see.
Well,
so
I
to
didn't
speak.
see God. I spoke to God. And it's funny because this was before Dawn's dad died.
So I was going to say, maybe you knew something was coming.
And I walked in and I just kept seeing, why is that section of the studio dark?
Well, I think it probably, which we can talk about, you know, maybe another time on that, because it is significant, actually, and it's very significant to your father passing. And I totally believe he was giving messages because of what I said to you before he passed.
Right.
And that wasn't a dream, but it was a psychic message that I got that basically was what was going to be on his grave, right? I saw the Star of David, and I thought it was a place that he'd be going to, but no, it was.
It was the final
it was.
place.
And the part about the dream was that's where he was meant to be. So, you know, so yes, we get our premonitions. We get things that are given to us. Doesn't necessarily happen as we see it. It can be a year later. But that's something, and I don't want to go too deeply into that because it's part of what's going to happen maybe when you transition.
Well, Sally, could that have just been a premonition on what was going to happen? And the only way they would think, guides and guardians, for you to interpret it was to make it think it was you. Otherwise, you would have seen somebody else's passing. And maybe that's not for us to see.
Well, it was pointed out to me because I was up there looking down.
Well, no, but then again, I'm not going to say you were necessarily,
wasn't
you were
really
still
you.
here.
Oh,
But
no,
yes,
it
he
was
could
me.
have been traveling, because when I astral projected, and I did, and I could see things, I was looking down into them. So that is a traveling dream, and you were there. You were looking down.
I was up there and I was looking down, and I don't know, my conscience says, it's really dark up here. It's really dark to look down. And it was your show that I was looking down.
Okay.
And so after that, when I came in the next day,
Put that light out.
physically, I put the light up.
Okay.
It was dark.
That was a significant dream, Freddie.
Or I could get even more significant. I could get into people that were in there that I hadn't met, like this one. People like Merengue that I hadn't met.
Well, because you
People
don't mind me saying it on the air, you're extremely psychic. and
Well,
you're
I
gonna
don't
have
know
these
what that
things
meant. All I know is that I saw them, a lady with blonde hair sitting here, and they were having this discussion.
So
And
it
I
was
up
this
in the
show you were
rafters.
seeing, maybe.
It was.
This
I was in the
actual
rafters
show that
watching
we're talking
that.
about now, about dreams. All right, so that's coming to pass. This is good. You saw it before. Because going back into why that could possibly be is that we do plan our life. We plan, we have free wills, and there's different places that you can go down, different paths, timelines, but basically we plan what's going to happen. So once in a while, I think there's a name for it, you can get caught in that, and you're able to see what's going to happen in the future. Because many people, or a deja vu, something that has happened, but you're suddenly getting this deja vu. And I see you have something that you definitely want to ask me.
I've had that
Please.
happen so often.
Right.
And it's usually school related recently.
Okay.
It's like, let's just put it this way. I'll wake up. I've been like, didn't I just do this? Like, I swear I was just at school. I wake up, I go through my day, and I'm like, this really feels like it already happened.
Well, I have to tell you, this is not coincidental, and I don't believe in that. And anybody watching my show is going to say this is synchronicity. You had a premonition about this show. Absolutely, 100%. You're asking me these questions. It had already happened. Freddie's saying what he's saying, how he was up there in the studio. Dawn's sitting here. This is a deja vu for you, correct? You feel something, or you wanted to be here, or maybe you're just seeing it now. But we have done this. It's very hard to explain it. Very hard.
She
But
couldn't even
just-
find the studio this morning.
She what?
She couldn't
You
find
not
the
bring
studio.
that up.
She was
Oh,
going
okay,
in the wrong
yeah.
direction.
But
My
the
GPS.
fact that you have had some of this and you see that, and then you told me that you had a dream, which I call flying at that point, all the significant things that you said. The message for you that I'm giving you psychically, it's not to do necessarily with the show, is that you're beginning to open up to so much more. And this is good that you're sitting here. It's good that you've listened to the show. And it's good you're getting validation on your part, because your face, when you heard me talking about that, my God, I knew that I had to stop what I was talking about and listen to what you had to say at that point. So I think the message on a psychic, what I'm hearing is that you're going to see a lot of things that you thought were coincidence, but you can still go back onto the show, synchronicity or coincidence. It's synchronicity that's happening to you, and it's real, and these things are happening.
So I actually have another question. What about daydreams?
Well, that's our imagination. So imagination is very important too, because if you think about where you get to places, whatever you decide, even taking a trip, it starts somewhere else. So I call that, it starts in our imagination. So we're just expanding what I would call our consciousness on a different level, and then we proceed and do what we've already seen, maybe.
Okay, so you're saying that our daydreams, they are more of our imagination and not possibly what could happen in...
Well, no, it's a little bit of both, because really, if you think about it on a logical way, if you're going to do something, and you imagine it first. Even me with my art, although I was getting messages, I don't know what I'm drawing, so I never know until I've finished what it is. So that's coming from my imagination. I needed some help perhaps with that I could do that, because I had it in my dream. Many people gave me the messages, well, not many, a few, to go and get some crayons and start drawing. I was never an artist, and I've drawn now for many years. I couldn't draw a straight line. So now my imagination has taken me into what I was, I'm going to say, planning to do anyway, but maybe I didn't go down that path for quite a while.
Okay.
So nothing is, I'm going to say, by chance. That's the word that's coming to me.
Okay, I got another question for you then.
Naturally.
So,
because I don't mean that rudely, but I knew that.
So I personally believe it was just imagination or whatever, but I had a daydream a while back. You're making me think of it, and it was so real. Like, my eyes were open. I knew what was going on. I knew it wasn't real. I was crying by the end. I don't remember if it was my sister's, but I remember very specifically it was my little brother. He got in a car accident. I don't remember, I remember him hearing that he got in a car accident, and I remember seeing it. Like, I wasn't there, but I saw it. And then I remember, he was gone. Just like that. He died in that car accident. And I remember, crying. I'm just like...
Well, I mean, you have a brother, and he's
yeah,
fine.
I have,
so I'm not
a
gonna
little
say,
brother. His
okay,
name's Donovan.
it's just maybe the fear of that. I'm not going to
Okay.
say that that's going to come about, because hopefully it doesn't. But you are fearful of him being. That's coming from you. I'm absolutely
Okay.
certain that's coming from the fear. And as we said, I think we opened the show with something that you're talking about. We also have our dreams that are coming from our subconscious.
Yeah.
If we're fearful of something, you're going to sometimes dream about it. And that's a way, basically, and sometimes just getting rid of this whole situation. I don't want to think about that anymore. But it starts with imagination, and I guess when you think your dreams are also your own imagination, because you've already done something here that you're going to see in your dream with your subconscious talking about it. So that's interesting.
Do you think that our imaginative, you know how you said that was my subconscious fear? Do you think that these dreams, you dreaming about it, can become a reality? Not in my case, but in others.
It's best to disperse something like that, because sometimes it's a good thing. You can dream you've won the lottery, you know? So I'm very much into positive energy, which you haven't, I know, listened to my shows, so I talk a lot about, but the negativity can turn into positivity too. So, but if I do a reading on someone and I see something in the reading, I actually sometimes don't necessarily want to tell them if it's not good, if it's very negative, because we have free will. So what I see that person may not do. So I can give you an out, not on yours, because I'm not touching that. I just expel it, totally. But I can see that your imagination can lead you into what you've already dreamt, and then you can continue it. If it's good, you want to continue it.
Yeah, so you're saying, like, if I dreamt I won the lottery and that was like a daydream, that was like something I wanted, I could turn that into a reality. With
Yeah,
dreams.
you can turn anything into reality. I believe very much.
What
in
about
that.
guys? What is it? What about if maybe it's her guys talking to her?
Well, yes, it's possible. I mean, with something like that, you really want to get it out of your mind, because that's a horrible thing that happened. So I'm not referring to this particular dream or instant that this happened, but if you want something to happen that is good, if you put it in your mind and you concentrate on it and you truly believe it, I believe that we can manifest a lot of different things, but we don't want to manifest bad things. We want to manifest good things.
Well,
So
maybe it's just truth.
dreaming is
Maybe it's just truth. Tell her brother not to go down this road, go down this
well,
one.
there
Don't
is
drive
that
to
to
them.
it. But if you knew where he was a little boy, so he wasn't driving the car, right? So if it's difficult with that one,
Or
because
in a car.
you don't know where you were, and he doesn't know you don't know where it was. But I mean, if you suddenly, let's use that. I don't want to use that as an example, because we're putting some validated.
Yeah, you bringing up the whole like manifesting.
If you see a particular dream of somebody, and let's say they fall over, I don't want to say that, and it's by a lake, okay? You've got the lake, so I would suggest, if you saw that in a dream, go a different way. Or, as I've said this before many times, if you're driving in a car and you suddenly get this feeling, I don't think I want to go that way, go the other way. Go the other way. You don't have to know what may have happened the other way, but your conscious mind is telling you, go the other way. Your gut feeling, then go the other way. So, yeah, we get these messages in our dreams. Since the program is on dreams, yes, we get them, definitely.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely feel like you bringing up the whole manifesting, like, good stuff, it made me honestly think of the fact I'm in college now, and I really felt like I manifested that.
Right. Yes.
So that made me
I
think
do
of
believe
that.
that you do. But you want to manifest the good things, because we can. I know Freddie has a list of some more questions.
I got a list of bad things too.
Well, we'll do that too.
People
We'll
telling me
handle
to
it.
wait 4
We'll handle it.
years. People waiting. Sally makes me laugh. She came to the studio 3 years later. She was supposed to show up and she did not. And she showed up 3 years later and stayed behind. And I think that the reason she showed up was because you had a guide that told you to come.
Well, the first person that brought me here, I didn't listen to. He had the feeling that I should definitely be here.
Yeah.
3 years later, my very good friend told me to come to the
That's the
studio.
second
So
time.
that was the second time.
So that's a daydream. I think
Well,
that
that was-
daydreams are very warranted.
It was, because I didn't take notice of the first one.
No, because
So
you
that
don't
little
listen doesn't mean that it's
doesn't mean
not
it's not going to
right.
happen.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I felt very comfortable from the moment that I walked in here. And I knew that in my mind, I also felt, now that I think about it, that I had been here before, although I hadn't physically been here that I knew of.
You're my dreams.
Yes.
See, I can say that. You can't.
Yeah.
I can say it.
You dreamt about Sally?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we had a very similar situation, which could have just been a dream. But the fact that what happened, I think we did bring it up on one of the shows when we were both paralyzed in a dream one time.
No, that
Within
was you who
24 hours.
pointed that out to me. Thank you. Yes,
Yeah.
you were paralyzed.
But and
some weird
had we not
dreams.
had a dream, Freddie, where you were paralyzed and had to be woken up within 24 hours of the same situation in different places?
But you went somewhere and I went somewhere else.
Because we were, yes, but we both had this validated too, that this happened. So
I
it
had
was
a dream about Sally. She was a painter during the French Revolution. She painted.
She did, though.
And I was in the underground. The French had the underground. And I was in the underground, and my job was to get her to England from France
Wow.
because she was important for the coalition, or whatever the hell you want to call it. And she was stubborn. She wouldn't go. She wouldn't swim across the canal. There's a canal, right?
yeah, it's a
Channel?
channel.
Yeah. And she wouldn't swim. She wouldn't get on a boat and swim across the canal.
Well, that
And
may
this
have been I believe, and I'm feeling funny about that because I probably was stubborn and I wouldn't do that. That was a previous lifetime.
Some things
When
haven't
was
changed.
the French Revolution? What years? Do you know? When
That was the French Revolution. I don't know, 1700s.
was it after our lifetime?
Yes.
Okay. So yes, possibly.
Just a little, well, about the same time, actually.
Because Dawn and I, and you don't mind saying this because you were my daughter in a previous life, and I've had many validations on that. And Aldo, my guide who came in, actually validated so much to me of things that had happened to me in past lives because he came in with memory. Just to bring this to what actually happens to us, we come in and we forget. We basically are here to have a lifetime of understanding, of a journey. So if we remembered everything, it wouldn't be as meaningful. So most people come in and forget. Our memory is like wiped away. But my guide came in, who tapped me on the shoulder in the beginning of the show, I brought that up, had remembered a lot. And he remembered me from a previous life. He was very, very, I would say, advanced spiritually. And he taught me a lot. And some of my drawings, which he saw me, pointed out that that was from previous lives, which I went ahead and looked them up, which I had never seen. I didn't know I was going to draw from a lifetime from 1500s. There were some of my artwork, not exactly the same, but similar, because I would never have looked that up. So a lot of what he said to me, we could validate and did, and he told me so much, and still is, because he's talking to me right now from the other side.
A lot of things that we're supposed to learn, we don't listen, and we don't learn. So you're going to do them over and over again until you get it right. So Sally not being here because she didn't listen.
It came back again, but that
And
that,
again,
and
and
again.
again.
Well, I'm glad I showed
And
up
again.
because in my next life.
And it's funny because she showed up at the time that we had the other gentleman that we lost.
Yeah.
Right? Before we lost him.
Does he ever come to you, Lynn?
Lynn, no, once in a while though, when I come into the studio, I do feel his presence. Yes, I do. But not that I can say that there's a story behind it. I just feel his presence, yes.
Interesting. You got another one? We got
There's
about 5 minutes.
Story behind it. Interesting.
You got a lot of questions. People
Yeah.
So this is from a gentleman by the name of Jose. He's here in Florida. Why do I dream about having a conversation with my Aunt Maria from Puerto Rico about my career choices?
Because it's actually, you are having, I'm not being able to pronounce his name, but hi.
Jose?
Jose.
Oh, Jose. I thought it was more, that was easy. But you are actually, as I had mentioned earlier in the show, there is an astral plane. That's why they call it astral traveling. And on that plane, you can have communication with people. You happen to recall the conversation, and that's what I truly believe was happening.
I have another one here. Kristen asks, can you interpret the dream I had about my neighbor Karen from Georgia? Again, these people all talk about other states throwing a party and inviting everyone in the neighborhood to the party, especially people I didn't like.
Well, it looks like you're going to have a party and you're going to get a mixture of people. That's the first thing. I mean, we can make this funny because there may be some people there that you didn't know that you didn't like.
But isn't that a message, Sally?
Yes, it's a message to be, if you have the party, this is the message. And the fact that she said there's people, it's a lady, right, that doesn't like some of the people there, you're going to have a party. I'm not necessarily
She
saying...
didn't like anybody there.
Well, nobody?
Nobody.
I'm getting that some of
Zero.
these were her friends that she thought
Nobody
were
there.
her friends.
She didn't like any of them.
Oh, can you read the beginning of it again?
See, I'm thinking that this is a lesson to be learned. Can you interpret the dream I had about my neighbor Karen from Georgia throwing a party and inviting everyone in the neighborhood to the party that I don't like?
Oh, that she doesn't like. Okay, well, don't go to the party because you're not going to like anybody. You had a premonition. I was going to say, and this may also be possible, that you're going to go to the party and people that you thought, or no, this is coming to me more. People that you thought that you liked, be wary of a few people. I'm not going to say that they're bad, but they're not all that you think they are. That's the message that I'm getting. It's actually nothing
Don't judge, you mean?
Huh?
Don't judge?
Don't judge, yes. But you know, be aware that some people that you're meeting are not your friends. That's really what it was. A long way to get to it. That's what it is.
That's interesting.
We got 2 minutes.
15 different ways with that answer.
Well, there are definitely, this was a very good question, but it's open to a lot of interpretations.
That's
but the
because
main
we
one,
didn't get this subject matter in on time, so I
Okay.
had to go with the...
okay, but I do feel that that's a message from whoever it is. Keep an open mind with certain people, because you will know who those certain people are, and your instincts are what are correct.
I think that your mind and your spirit are working with you through your dreams to try to send you a message that when you're walking around, you ain't paying attention, like waiting 3 years to show up.
Yeah,
or 4.
this is true, but it will repeat itself.
Always,
I came
yeah,
eventually.
eventually.
And it's good things like the pennies, which we opened this up, I think, with the feathers, which I find
All signs.
all signs.
But
It's
we have
all
to
signs.
learn the message.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully my show is helping a few people understand a
hope so.
little bit more. Okay, I think we've come to the end of the show.
Yes.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a
Well,
wonderful
before we wrap
week.
it up, check out your artwork and your clothing on Artwork by Sally Bernard, Barnard. Get some clothing, get her book, learn more about her story.
Wear her clothing to get spiritual to read her book.
Yeah, because the imprints are on my clothing from my artwork. I see you guys next week. Have a great week. Bye-bye. You have been watching Call Me Zena with your host, Sally Bernard. As an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer, know that you can always seek me out for resources by visiting artbysallybernard.com. Join us next week, Mondays at 2:30. Have a blessed day.